Alright, Ride Warriors, welcome back to Planet Coaster and more construction of Evergreen Groves. I believe we're up to episode 23 now. Last time we did some lighting and some scenery on our gift shop that's off to the left side of our main midway here. And, it looks like it's lit a little bit differently than the food stall over here, but it's actually, I think it's partially the moonlight that's sort of lighting up that building over there. So, we'll have to, we'll just have to live with this lighting for now. The sign, the Blue Fur Boulevard sign here isn't particularly well lit on either side. So I think we'll just have to do with that for now. So for this episode, I think we're going to start working on some of the things that need to be taken care of as far as the path goes. So we've got path lighting, we've got some lampposts that we need to take care of. But the first order of business, I think I'm going to turn on, I don't know what time it is, it's 3:14 p.m. right now in the game time. And I think what I'm going to do is sort of address putting something in the middle of this little patch here. And I think we're going to make it part of the main entrance. So we're editing that building. So let's go to the signs and sort of see what we have as far as signs go. And maybe we'll just find a rectangular sign. I think this is the one that we sort of used on the entrance gate. I believe it is. Oh, see, that's large. And that's that's quite large. So that's the one we used there. We used the small version. Just looking at the editable signs, all the different types that we have. We've got the small lit. That one's a little bit smaller. Editable sign. That one's smaller yet. That one's large. This one. Just looking at the different options we have here. So I think what we'd like to do is sort of do something that's upright. And if I do the small sign here, that's actually just about exactly how I'd like to do it. Because I'd like to just have this sign here, sort of like that, straight up and down. And I'd like to have it the same sort of colors as, so maybe I'll plunk that down. And go out to this sign here. And I'll sort of make everything the same. So 183B07 is the outline. So we'll try and just duplicate the same sort of look here. And let's see, there we go. So that's kind of what it looks like right there. Put Evergreen Groves in there. We'll make it the racing font, and we know that it's white, and I think we did the same outline color. I think we did the same outline color on this as the edge of the sign, yes. That's exactly what it is. So this is good news here. Now the question is, can we do advanced move on this? Yes, we can. So the first order of business is to rotate, and we'll make 30-degree angle snaps for now. Whoops, not that direction. I want to grab the red ring so we can stand it up right. There we go. Now we'll go to translate, and we'll move it upwards a little bit. And I think what we'll do is we'll actually drag it with us this way. And I'll use, go to first person, and I'll use sort of these tiles here that are on the entrance of the park to sort of gauge if I'm perfectly centered, because I should be perfectly centered. I think I want to move it back just a touch. Okay, so there we go. So now I have this perfectly centered. perfectly centered as far as that goes. And then I'll slide it back. So now the question is really going to be how tall I want that. I don't want it super tall. I do want to put some flowers and things in front of it, but I don't want it to be super tall. So what I do want to do is kind of get a sort of a top-down look here, because this sign is pretty wide. It's only barely going to fit. It's only barely going to fit where I need it to. So again, I got my top-down view, and see if I zoom out, it's just barely going to fit in the middle there. If I have it, pretty much as far back as I can go. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do as far as that goes. I probably need to put something behind it. But what that something is, I'm just not sure yet. But at least we've got the sign there now. I think we could that'll do for now. I mean, fore, aft, and side to side, it's centered. So now, again, if we get to player height, which is going to be like something like this, yeah, I think I like that. It's got the sign here that's actually inside the main part of the park. It's not overly obnoxious in terms of being in the way of things and blocking your view. It's still going to be a very nice view. If we change to 8 p.m., it is a lit sign. So, that looks rather nice as well. So let's see now. Let's go to scenery, because it's not truly a building. We want to put some very nice looking flowers and things in here, perhaps. So we'll go to nature. Let's go to planters first, because maybe we can modular planter base. Oh, that's quite large. Holy shnikes. A thin planter, corner, and circle. Oh! Well, that's interesting. It's scenery, though, so it's not snapping to the grid, I don't think. Yeah, see, it's not making a grid. I would maybe consider that, perhaps. But I mean, these things are very, very large. They're much, much larger than what I was. I mean, these are for large, flower beds and stuff that are going to be a big part of a main midway, which I'm just not doing anything like that. We've got these types of planters. These are window boxes. They're not quite what I'm going for. We've got this crate planter, which doesn't. I mean, that's kind of not really what I'm going for. We've got a ground planter, which is circular here, which looks okay. That's very small. Baroque bowl. Yeah, not quite what I'm looking for here. I'm not particularly pleased with any of these things, to be perfectly honest. I mean, something like this, I wouldn't be opposed to, and I could shrink it down so that it's in the ground a little bit. I could maybe just have it sticking up just a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to take align to surface off, so that when I do this, it'll still move around. See, the issue is, if I do that and then I try and do an end, I need to clip it in to that to get it to fit inside that piece of path, and then it's too big for the sign. Otherwise I've got to do something like this where it sort of cuts into the path, and I don't really want to do that. Okay, so maybe what we want to do instead is perhaps we want to. I've had no plan for this at all. For how I was going to do this. I literally am purely flying by the seat of my pants, whereas I sort of had at least something in my head for, like, the carousel and everything and what I wanted to do. and was just picking the right scenery objects. This is just something that I'm completely sort of doing on the fly. I wish I had some sort of lattice structure to sort of at least hold that sign up, and obviously we have frameworks. So let's go into the frameworks. Maybe I can find something small that will do the job that I'm trying to do. Wall decorations, carnival decorative trim. Yeah, it's not quite what I want. Let's see, what else do we have? We've got this graffiti. These are just wall decorations. I'm not overly keen on any of those. The framework. How big are these? Oh, see, it's way too big. See, these are like coaster supports here. You can make these really nice custom coaster supports that look extremely realistic, and in time I will probably end up doing those. See, this isn't bad. See, this isn't terrible if I can sort of shrink it down, which I can do. But then I'm worried if I go into first person. I was in first person. See, if I go down here, am I able to put... I mean, I'm able to put... Yeah, I mean, I'm able to put that sign sort of... I can raise it up a little bit. You know, this is maybe player height right here, so this wouldn't be too bad. You know, I'm thinking maybe I can get away with it. So let's see... oh, see, unfortunately here, see, it's one of those things where the painting is sort of stuck behind things. So I gotta figure out which scaffolding I want to use. I could use something like that that's not as wide. I mean, that's not bad. I think I can deal with that. So let's get it painted the right color. According to first person, according to the color map, that's the same, and that looks the same. So that's fine. The aligning to surface is nice for this, because it's actually placing it flat on the ground. So I've got the color right. Oh, see, that's... see, the origin isn't in the middle. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to sort of eyeball the centered bit of it. So let's see here. I mean, that's lined up right there. So I'm just going to have to visually do this, and hopefully I can get it pretty darn close. I mean, that looks pretty close to centered. So I think we can go with that, and then we'll drag it back here. And then maybe what we'll do is... So that's pretty good right there, to be perfectly honest. Because I don't want that sign to be in a scenario where it's actually overhanging the path and you can walk into it while you're on the path. So I think where I have the sign is actually the right spot, and then I'll just have to move the scaffolding frame here just so that it matches up with the sign, which is right there. And we'll go ahead and place that. So now what I'll do is I'll do an advanced move on the sign, and we'll raise the height up. And let's see, do we want a little bit of the scaffolding showing? I think maybe we do. And because we've got that underhang on the sign itself, I think we could show a little bit of the framework that's there. I think it's okay to have that. So let me get to approximately where the employee's head height is, which seems to be right about there, and then we'll kind of do this. So that's sort of your height there, and when you're back here, see, I don't like how tall it is. I really don't. Because I don't want it to block that much of the carousel. So let's do shift. Let's not duplicate. We'll bring both of them, and then we'll just sort of lower the height of everything. And I'm looking, there's not a scaffolding piece that doesn't have that cross brace there, is there? There is this iron scaffolding wall, so maybe we can use that, but I really think that right about there is sort of the height that I want. So that means the sign is like barely off the ground at all. This the height I'm at. So when I walk in through the gates, might be a little higher, but not by much. So when I walk into the gates, that's sort of the look that I have right there. Not like that. There's first person. So that's sort of the look I have, which is a good look. I don't dislike that look. Yeah, I mean, maybe we even need to bring the sign pretty much all the way down to the ground. I mean, I think that's fine, and I guess, does the backside bother you? I'm asking as if you can hear me, so if I get rid of the main entrance, that's sort of the look right there. I mean, it looks weird. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't look weird. Here's this scaffolding, and I think I like this better, actually, to be quite frank. It's bulkier, but I think I can hide it a little bit better. So I think we're going to go for that instead. Whoops. Iron scaffolding. Change it to... See, and what's interesting now is that this one actually wants to snap to the grid. Which is quite odd, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm not quite sure why this one wants to snap to grid and the other one doesn't. But it's centering itself nicely, which is interesting. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to place it, and then am I able to do an advanced move with it? No, I'm not. I'm not able to. But what I can do is place another one, maybe. And I can shift it height-wise. No, grid size. If I change the grid size, maybe I can get it to line up kind of where I want and adjust the sign. Where is that putting it? It's putting it right there. I mean, that's okay. As far as the grid goes. There we go. That second one went down where I wanted it to. Crap. It's not the right one that I wanted to place. I wanted to place down this one. Yes, that's the one I wanted. Okay, let's try this again here now. Okay, so that's about where it needs to be. And height-wise, it's actually pretty close. Can I go down? I can go down one more. No, not there. I think I want it sticking up just a little bit. And I think that's good. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Because now when I have this here, it's sort of, you know, you've got those little posts sticking up a little bit, but it's not a big deal at all. Okay, so why don't then we do the advanced move on this, and again we'll get this to sort of slide back a little bit so that it's right up against the sign. That looks good. Okay, so now I think, let's get back into first person. This is approximately guest height right here, height-wise. Be a little bit shorter for me. But when you walk in now, that's sort of the look you've got. Yeah, I think that's okay. You know, you sort of walk in and you've got your sign there, and you've got those things that are sticking up. I'm sort of wondering, can we? I can't do the advanced move on everything, just on the sign. So I think we can lower this pretty much all the way to the ground, which I think is an okay look. I'm wondering now. Now I'm wondering, can I do those wood columns that I've loved using so much? I've got a lot of these different wood columns, these wooden posts. I mean, these snap to the grid pretty nicely. I could do a 1 meter post, do a 2 meter post. Kind of wondering if there's an opportunity to use these instead. See, these are snapping to the grid. These don't snap to the grid though. So I could just plunk 2 of them down and have them be at the height that I want and need. I think I'm gonna do that instead to give it a bit more of a rustic look. So after all that, I'm gonna get rid of those iron scaffolding, which means I can. Yeah, I can just do that, and delete this. Okay, so let's go back to the 2 meter plane. I think that looked okay. Do advanced, duplicate and move, and we'll spread them out just about as far as we can. I think that looks fine. And then I will do a multi-select, X for advanced, move, and I will do the same thing that I did with the sign. I realize that I'm doing virtually nothing in this episode so far. Like I said, I don't really have anything in particular in mind ahead of time on this one. I'm really just sort of doing it as I go. So it's not going to be the most productive of episodes, but it's something that I've been wanting to do for a couple episodes now. To get something in that middle bit of the path there. That I think looks pretty good as far as being centered goes. I mean, we're right there. Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. Okay, so we'll take the red arrow and we'll slide it back now. And now we will slide the posts just so that they sort of clip with the back of the sign. Like so. And then again, sort of at player height again. This is sort of the look we've got from the entryway. So we'll lower them down until... I think we want a little bit poking up because we've got a little bit showing on the underside of the sign there. So I do think we want a little bit poking up. Which is good. I can deal with that. That looks good. And now, yeah, I think I actually like that quite a bit. It looks nice. It sort of blends in with the trees and everything, and it's that nice rusticy look that you would expect out of a park sign that's sort of there. And it's a lit park sign. So, all right, let's go back to the whole flower deal. I don't like. I mean, the barrel planter looks nice, but it's way too tall. I mean, everything is pretty much way too tall now. So really, the only options we have at this point is to take some flowers and just sort of put them down here in front of the sign, and even the ones that are fairly short are going to be sort of interfering with our sign here, because the sign is pretty much, is it at ground height? Are those at ground height? Yes, they are. So we don't want things that are overly tall unless we can shrink them down. Now the begonias look nice. Now they're not colorable, so we've got that's way too large. Also way too large and sickly looking. That looks nice, but it's way too big. The petunias that we put over there are way too tall. I mean, we need things that are not overly large. Oh, see, those look nice. We've got rose bushes that are very tall, yellow floral bush. I mean, though that would look nice if it wasn't so obnoxiously large. Not obnoxiously large, just obnoxiously large in terms of what we're actually looking for. The tulips are nice. I like the tulip look. I think that's actually sort of a nice. I think that's sort of nice here. I think we can sort of mesh in some tulips here. And these are paintable, so we can make them any color we want and make them nice and vibrant. And again, from player height, that doesn't interfere with what we're looking at all. So I think what we'll do is we'll go to pretty much as much of a top-down view as the game will let us get. And let's color some tulips. I like that color. And I actually like the color that these are just right out of the box, this reddish yellow. I mean, we're not really doing much with red, but I like the way they look. So I'm gonna place those, and the advanced duplicate feature is nice. I'm gonna use rotate to rotate them 90 degrees so that they don't look like they're in exactly the same spot. Oops. Apparently that duplicated already. Another 90 degrees. Yeah, so like right there looks good. And right. I'm actually gonna rotate this one another 90. I'll rotate the next group. I wonder, are they all kind of placed the same? No, I don't think they are. Looks nice, and that's sort of nice and centered. So I can do an advanced duplicate, rotate them 90. Sort of put them right here-ish. And then do one more duplicate. And hopefully we can squeeze these in and have it look pretty natural with where they sit. And oh man, we can. It's almost perfect. And there we go. That's really nice. We've got some nice vibrant tulips that are in there. I think those look really good. I may choose to change some of the colors of a couple of them there afterwards, but I think this looks good. So now we've got these flowers which look nice as well, and they're a little bit lower profile. So what I may do is I may just absolutely spam. I may just absolutely spam these little yellow flowers, these viola flowers, they're called. We've got these, which look kind of nice. I mean, maybe a little bit farther out, maybe on the corners or something. We can put these, or maybe along the sides. Let's see, what else do we have? We have the begonias, which are colorable, and we can make them a little bit of a brighter yellow, I feel. Yeah, maybe we'll make them an orange. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get my phone out real quick and just do quick image search for begonias and see what colors come up. See if a yellowish color comes up. Oh, there's all sorts of colors. See, I'm not very well versed in my flowers here. Oh, but yeah, there's like a really nice goldenrod type color close to what we had before. So I mean something like that. Maybe even a bit more orange is nice. And maybe we'll slide it up here to give it some more vibrance. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm actually seeing something that's slightly more orange than that. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. Sort of like a golden yellow. I mean, our park colors are sort of green and yellow, so we don't want to go too much on the orange. But yeah, I mean, I could just really spam a bunch of begonias in here, and have it look really nice. So maybe I'll just do that, and I'm just sort of placing everything at sort of just placing everything here at 90-degree rotations at this point. So it's sort of filling in nicely, and then what I can do after the fact is I can sort of shift and move it down. And I think what I'll do is I think I'll go back to my top-down view again, and I'll place things relatively close to one another based on how it's rotating and sort of filling in. And again, not being super precise with it. Just trying not to sort of encroach on the pathway. Sort of have things that are placed fairly nicely. So we've got a nice patch of begonias there that look fairly nice, and we'll put two more out front. Like so. And now what I can sort of do is if I turn align to surface off, what I can do is I can actually shift, and so that it's not placing them on top, and I can get down at height here and sort of shift, whoops, gotta have shift when you're saying to hold shift. And I can sort of do this. And what it'll do, it'll sort of lower those things down, back down to that height that we were placing them at before. And what I can do is I can sort of now fill in sort of the gaps. And if I sort of do the rotate thing, I can sort of fill in the, I can fill in all these gaps in our begonia patch. And I don't know how awkward that looks, sort of having all those things in there. You know, it almost looks a bit too structured. But I mean it looks nice. And you know, maybe we need to have some slightly more height variation in there. I mean it looks pretty good. As far as that goes, I mean, having the tulips back there and then sort of the begonias sort of, you know, in this other area is a little bit odd. I think it looks a bit overkill. So what happens if we just sort of get rid of all those extra ones we placed? And we sort of go down here. I mean, that looks, I think, just as good maybe, and not quite as much overkill. So maybe the ticket here perhaps is to where we're gonna fill in with the begonias the rest of the way. Maybe we gotta lower them down lower so that less of them is sort of poking up. See, now we've only got a smaller bit of that bush sort of poking up in these empty spaces. And maybe it just needs to be a few of them. Maybe we don't need to completely patch it in altogether. Let me go to the planters again. Is there a base piece that's just pure dirt? Yes, it is. It's a modular planter top with no edge. But unfortunately, when you do that, yeah, unfortunately there, it's, interesting. Yeah, I mean, that looks okay. I mean, it looks, I think what we'll actually do is we'll get from the top view, and we'll sort of slide these things a little bit closer to fill in those gaps just a little bit more naturally, and then maybe we won't have to place any other pieces in there, and sort of space these out so that they look relatively evenly spaced. Yeah, I think that can go that way just a bit. That can go that way just a bit. And we can move these up just a little ways, fill them in. Can sort of do that. Can sort of fill those in. I mean, those are in a pretty good spot, just how they are. So this is sort of our entrance now, and those. I mean, that looks pretty good. I mean, I think it's not perfect, but again, the way the flowers would grow out, they wouldn't be overly symmetric. I mean, we've got the roots and I guess the base pieces of the flowers in a roughly symmetric manner. But in general, they would sort of grow off in these different directions, which I think is sort of what we've done here. So I think this looks good. So now when we walk in, get rid of this. So now when we walk in, we've got this lovely bit of flowers here in front of our sign, and we've got the pine trees there, the blue fir trees, we've got our buildings on either side, we've got the nice lighting, we've got the carousel out in the distance. Yeah, I mean, I think that looks good. I'm trying to think of, yeah, see, the detail on these is just really great as well. Again, I haven't been mentioning, just the generic detail of this game over the course of, some of these. I've really been focusing on what I want, so we just spent 40 minutes doing this entrance sign and placing some flowers, which, is fine. I think this was an important part to have some sort of visual here. The last thing that I want to do here is to just see if there's anything else that we can sort of put here. So just sort of jazz it up a little bit. We've got props, animatronics, statues, and centerpieces. Maybe there's something small here that kind of fits along with our theme that we can sort of put in the middle here. I mean, we've got a carousel horse, which is just way too large to put in there. We've got these fountains and everything. These fountains, which actually look quite nice, but they're way too big for what we're trying to do. You can custom build your fountain and everything. They've got this water trough, which looks quite nice. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here that I sort of like. I was thinking more of like a garden clock or something. I know there's a garden clock in Roller Coaster Tycoon that you can use that looks quite nice. Vehicles, fences, archways, signs, and advertising. Yeah, we don't want to do the animatronics. Nature, path extras. No, so these are the bins and the benches and stuff, which is maybe what I need to start doing next. And we got picnic benches as well. That's quite interesting, actually. I haven't really looked at those ever before. So I think that's sort of where we're gonna go next with this. I'm not really feeling anything that I'm seeing here to sort of put in the middle there. So I think we'll leave this for now, and we'll end this episode. Again, not a lot of progress in this episode here. Spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the sign. But I think this is good. So again, going back to sort of our entry experience here, we come down in between these beautiful light posts, which are eventually going to be more in here. We see our sign here that's in between our entrance, and then we come into the park, and we've got a much smaller, less grand sign, which sort of just adds a little bit to the overall feel here in the middle. And we've got these beautiful flowers that are out in front, which look very, very nice. So I'll leave you with this view of Blue Fir Boulevard, which is our beautiful main midway that we've been building here for the last several episodes. Perhaps in the next episode, we'll start placing the lights and benches and things, and start to really fill this in with all the little bits of detail that need to go in this. And eventually, we're going to put some flowers and bushes and things underneath these trees as well to sort of fill everything in. So I will leave you with that. And thank you for joining me again here on Planet Coaster, and we will see you in the next episode.